you all probably know them much better than I do. They have been part of this church for over 40 years. They were married here just about 40 years ago, if I'm understanding. So well done, you all. But this is Reverend Nate Sturry and his wife, Alinda. I'll just again say that marrying into the family, Alinda is Eileen Ledgerwood's sister. And so great to be connected in all the family here. Reverend Nate is also an elder in full connection here in the Florida Conference, and in all the various ways that we are called to serve. Sometimes it is to go on mission with the Lord wherever it might be around this world. So this is part of our connection here in Florida with ministry all the way over in Zambia. Thank you for giving me a little bit of an introduction to yourselves. They were serving at the Kafakumba transformational outreach there in Zambia, and they've been doing so for over 12 years, but they've been a long time on the mission field for both of their families. They were born and raised on the mission field. And so I just want to encourage us to ponder that as well, that this is a life that God calls us to. Linda grew up in Congo, Nate in Kenya, but they've been serving in Zambia for 12 years, following the footsteps of Alinda's brother and sister-in-law and their mother and father who served there before them. But we are blessed that they're here today. They've got their 4 grown children, 2 of them who are living in Zambia with them. This is life lived beyond the walls of just the local church in our home here. Amen. So I invite us to give another good round of applause for Nate and Alinda to be able to share for us today. Thank you so much again. God bless.
It is good to be back with you. I was just telling someone this morning, we saved the best for last. We're leaving to go back to Zambia tomorrow, so it's good to spend just a little time with you today, sharing a little bit about what God's put on our hearts. Some of you remember that good old song, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places. And unfortunately, people are still doing it today, but as we thought about that and we're heading back to the U.S., something also that we do with God. Looking for God in all the wrong places. You know, we read the Bible and we see Moses on the mountaintop and these people on the mountaintop that kind of experience God, Elijah, these people, Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration. So sometimes we think God is kind of just there in the big stuff, the mountaintop experiences. And so we look for God up there somewhere, and we get the telescope out and we're looking around for God. But Jesus brought God among us. So as you saw in our text, the next slide, just to review there, that Jesus is with the disciples there in the upper room, and Philip asked that question, or actually asked Jesus, please show us the Father, and we'll be satisfied. So I kind of imagine that's Philip up there with the telescope looking for God. And then Jesus says, have I been with you all this time, Philip? And you still don't know me? It's as if Jesus grabs the telescope, the big end, and he says, hello, I'm right here, right beside you. You're looking for the Father. You're looking out there, up there, the big stuff, the headline stuff. But you know, God is with us in the ordinary. God is with us in our everyday lives. And so our next slide just reminds us that sometimes when we're looking for God in all the wrong places, God's pulling at our pant leg, saying, I'm right here. Just look around. Remember what Jesus said, and as much as you've done it to the least of these, you've done it to me. And so today I just want to share a little bit with Port Orange about what we're doing there in Zambia and what's going on. We're going to start with a 3-minute overview video of Kafakumba Transformational Outreach.
Welcome to Kafakumba Transformational Outreach,
where we have 9+ ministries under the umbrella and on the foundation of the 7 principles of the kingdom of God.
Since 1963, Pastor's School has been equipping village pastors. Today, over 200 pastors are being trained from 4 nations: DR Congo, Zambia, Namibia, and Tanzania. Providing Christ-centered education for more than 170 vulnerable children from nearby villages. Pre-K to 9th grade, adding a grade each year through to a high school diploma. Learners today, leaders tomorrow. Sunday services are offered in both English and Bemba, transforming lives by teaching and living out the 7 kingdom principles. bringing clean water to clinics, schools, and churches across northern Zambia, making safe water accessible to those who need it most. Delivering quality, Christ-centered healthcare in partnership with local clinics and global medical teams, bringing hope and healing to the community. Sharing Christ's love with local children through our after-school program, filled with Bible lessons, worship, and joyful fun. Place for churches and organizations to gather for seminars, conferences, and retreats. Also, the home of our annual Pastor's School. Walking alongside our staff, students, and workers through a lifelong journey of spiritual growth, becoming one in Christ. By coordinating every detail, Kafakuma Logistics makes it possible for international visitors to come, connect, and serve alongside us in ministry.
That video was put together by our son, Mark Story. He has really come alongside us over the last 18 months, and that is he and his wife, Jamie. And he actually has been doing a lot of speaking with us over the last 3 or 4 weeks. He has gone back to Zambia to be with his wife, and so you guys have the second string today in me. So bear with me. But we have enjoyed welcoming them out. One of our primary goals this last year has been to extend the clinic. We have been functioning as a Class C clinic for the last 2.5 years, and we have elevated it to, our desire was to elevate it to a Class B clinic. To go from a C to a B means you go from basically a walk-in emergency care clinic to one that can admit, have an operating room, deliver maternity or services, as well as to have inpatient and to do emergency medical care. So one of the requirements for that was to do an expansion that included adding 15 beds. That was a government requirement. So this is actually the expansion that was started early last year. It was finished on approximately July 30th for a surgeon who was arriving in August. So this is the finished product. It is a doctor consultation room. Then we have a 5-bed female ward, 5-bed men ward, and a 5-bed pediatric ward. We did open our surgical services in August with a physician, Dr. Rhodes. He came to us as a veteran missionary surgeon, 27 years on the mission field. He is board certified in general surgery and in plastic surgery. He did not know us. He did not know where Kafakuma Clinic was. And this was us making a God connection that allowed him to say, yes, I will be there in 2 weeks and I've booked my tickets. And I was like, we are not ready for you. But we got his licensing finished the day he arrived. And by the grace of God, he opened our clinic surgical center there in Zambia. It's actually called a theater there, so I'm struggling with the terminology. On the left is the Kafakuma Surgical Center. On the right is the Arthur Davidson's Children's Trauma Hospital. We did 1 week in our own clinic where he did 13 surgeries, and then we also did 1 week at Arthur Davidson. Because he is a plastic surgeon, Arthur Davidson Hospital had 187 children on their waiting list for plastic surgery such as cleft lip, cleft palate, skin issues, and deformities. So Dr. Rhodes agreed to go there, and he did actually 12 surgeries there, cleft lips, cleft palates, and it was just a beautiful thing for me, who's an ICU nurse background, to see the transformation in the emergency room, in the OR. He saw the need, and I'm very hopeful that he comes back to join us again in the near future. This is Charles. He's one of the less graphic pictures that I can show you. He was a series of interesting contacts, and Charles was from the deep bush. But in Zambia, it's all in who you know. So Charles knew someone who knew us, who knew the clinic, and I had spoken about having a surgeon come. Back in December, Charles was introduced to us, and in August, his tumor was removed by Dr. Rhodes, and this is actually not the most updated picture. He has fully regained the eyelid musculature, and he is now able to see out of that eye, and it's very exciting for us. Yeah, it is so fun. My part is just to make it happen, and it is so fun to be a part of that. We did do this, they call it a surgical camp. We did not charge any of our patients anything for anything that was done. Dr. Rhodes did not charge anything for his services, so we absorbed the cost of travel, of food, of the surgical aspects. And the whole camp for the 2 weeks ran us about $5,000 for the 25 surgeries. So $200 a surgery is a pretty good deal in this day and age. So one of the other ministries that we have is well drilling. They were extremely active last year. Our team was in our community because there was a huge drought. And what they did while there was a drought, most people have a hand-dug well, but those were dry. So they called deep sunk wells boreholes. And so one of the options we have is to put in boreholes. Because there is a borehole rig, but one of the other aspects that they do is they fix previously dug boreholes that have collapsed or there's a problem. Often it's just a gasket issue. It runs about $100. So they went around and were able to correct 13 boreholes or fix them, and they also dug 3 additional boreholes. The goal is to put them at a community center, at a church, or at a school. And otherwise, people pay their neighbors by the bucket of water that they have with money that they don't have. So it was actually really timely to do it that year. We're hoping to do a few more this year. The cost of a borehole is about $2,500. This is kind of one of the more exciting things. My mother had a passion for the children in Zambia. I am a healthcare provider. Children are not my passion, but my mother was an unstoppable force. And she started a preschool there at Kafakumba, and that preschool has developed into adding 1 grade per year over the last 10 years. Our current students here, the top picture was taken 3 years ago on the site of our new school, and we opened the new school building in August, where we house a huge portion of our total of 175 students. So it's very exciting. The new building offers solar, complete solar system. It also offers smart TVs, it has internet, and so it's kind of a flagship in the area as far as the quality of education that's available. And our students are 100% high risk. They're either orphan, single orphan, double orphan, or in some other situation that they're more of the neediest of the community. So this is the class of our very first preschoolers that started with us, and they are doing now home ec. The children that I didn't think would live to see first grade are all looking very healthy, and we're really proud of the fact that God has blessed us in that none of our children have passed away, which is, with a mortality rate of 50% under 5, we feel very, very fortunate. So thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to Nate. One of the aspects of our education system is the Christian education aspect.
We've been taking our staff through what we call a journey of transformation, a discipleship program, and we finally got as smart as Elinda's mom, Grandma we call her, in realizing that we need to start younger. We need to start with our kids. And so this year we started a Life with God for Kids discipleship program. And Mark's wife, Jamie, and myself and Pastor Kilembo spend every week with the kids, just sharing with them, because the image of God out there is a very, let's just say it's not a real healthy image of God. It's more of a fearful image of God. And we're there to share with them the good and beautiful God that Jesus introduced us to. And so that's what we're trying to do, is kind of reshape that the knowledge of who God is in their lives. And so that's a joy to do. We also celebrated a baptism this year. We had 11 confirmands that joined our church on Easter Sunday through baptism. And then my son Mark is involved in coaching a soccer team. And we had 9 of the members of the soccer team also baptized this year. So we're very, very excited to have 20 new members at the church there. I pastor the English-speaking side of the church. We have a Zambian pastor that does the Zambian side as well. This is our pastor school. As the video said, it's been going on longer than I've been alive, which is pretty impressive. Elinda's dad started this back in Congo, and we're happy to continue it with over 200 pastors, just training them as village pastors. These are not people who will ever learn Greek or Hebrew. They're not going to go to a university or a seminary. They're really just people who want to go back to the village and pastor, shepherd people into the kingdom and teach people how to walk with Jesus. So we're excited to be a part of that. Paula D'Arcy said, God comes to you disguised as your life. Let that sink in a little bit. While we're up on that mountaintop with our telescope, God's all around us. In the needs that we have, I enjoyed seeing some of the things in your bulletin and the ways that you're already meeting those needs. So I know I'm preaching to the choir up here and the choir out there, that you all already know these things. But it's just a reminder every once in a while that the needs are all around us. So I just celebrate that Port Orange is still giving and sharing and loving. And just a reminder that as you do that, you're finding God in the common person. So if you're looking for God in all the wrong places, just a reminder, look around. God is never far from us. So just to wrap it up today, I want to encourage you, if you haven't gone to our website, that is our website. We have a bunch of business cards out on a table in the foyer, the narthex out there. If you want to pick up a business card and check it out later, that would be great. We would appreciate that. There's about 3 things on the little table. One is the business cards, which you're free to take with you. One is a little book that was written by Eileen and Elinda's brother John and a couple of other folks, that if you're interested in one, if you'll just leave us $5 so we can print a new one, that's all we ask for. But I have a special deal today. 170 students are being sponsored at our school. We've been traveling around for 7 weeks with a stack of sponsor cards to all these different churches we've been going to. And our stack's been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And we're down to 20 kids that need sponsoring. And let me just lay it out there that the church that has the record so far has sponsored 15 kids. So I'm pretty sure Port Orange can beat that. But let me also say, we want this to be over and above your regular giving. I know, I was a pastor here in the States. I know the challenges of leading a church. So please don't steal from First Port Orange to give to us. But if God's putting it on your heart, we're hoping that we get those 20 kids sponsored. If you're able to commit to sponsoring a child today, we just need your name and email and their name, and you can take their picture home and slap it on your fridge. So thank you again so much for inviting us back. We're happy to be a part of Port Orange and the United Methodist Church. Thank you.